for Monday, January 28th. Going live in 3, 2, 1. This Week in Blizz is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code TWIB at checkout, that's TWIB, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. We thank DoghouseSystems.com for their support of This Week in Blizz. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code TWIB to get 30% off plus free shipping on your next order, and support This Week in Blizz in the process.
Armed and ready. Who wants some? This Week in Blizz.
And welcome back, everyone, to episode 41 of This Week in Blizz. I'm Garrett Weinzerl.
I'm Ben Seifel.
And I'm back. I'm Kyle Ferguson.
Welcome back, Kyle. Your webcam froze up. Oh, no. And it's so sexy and new and pretty. What a shame.
Hope it was a good face.
It's you looking down in the corner. You at least don't look really stupid, which happens to like almost every guest over on StarCast when their webcam freezes.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty photogenic.
Could be worse.
Yeah. So try the old turn it off for 5 seconds, turn it back on trick. I don't know what's going on. There's something in the air tonight. Literally everything that is internet connected in my home is just not functioning right. Although I finally got this working. We all look good. We sound good. I don't know what's going on.
I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
I've had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you. But hey, this is a show keeping you up to date on the worlds of Blizzard Entertainment. You want your StarCraft news, your World of Warcraft news, your Diablo news? You've come to the right place. We also add a little dash of humor, or a lot of dash of humor and off-topic banter. First up this week, before we get into all of the news, we have an announcement for one of our sponsors. We talked briefly last week about DoghouseSystems.com doing an awesome giveaway involving Kerrigan's Ghost Rifle from the Betrayal cinematic of Wings of Liberty. What I did not say at the end of last show, because I had just found out about it, was the important part, the code you need to use to be entered into said contest. So here it is, Kerrigan. Use the code Kerrigan to be entered in the contest. That code can also be used in conjunction with our code TWIB, T-W-I-B, to get double memory on that same rig that you buy. So go do it. This thing is going to be awesome. It's being made by Bill Duran of Punish Props. The guy is extremely talented at prop making, and I can't wait to see this finished thing. And as I've said on many, many shows now, I'm probably going to buy another computer just for a chance to win this thing.
Do you really get entered, though? I mean, that seems a little unfair.
I could just buy it under my girlfriend's name or something. They don't know who it is.
True enough.
So, anyways, a bit of shuffle in the news this week. As you know, previously we've been doing Warcraft news, StarCraft news, and Diablo news. This week, StarCraft is first up because there is so much to talk about. So let's hit it. Oh, StarCraft, Heart of the Swarm expansion cinematic is out. If you want to hear me just nerd boner all over this thing, go listen to the StarCast show from last week. But yeah, Ben, we haven't talked to you about your impressions. Obviously, Kyle and I just...
Holy crap.
Yeah, this is great. This is the kind of thing that I show to my coworkers that don't know jack about the game or video games in general.
Right.
And they still think it's cool.
You know, this is probably one of the more exceptional cinematics I've ever seen come out of Blizzard. Obviously they're always going to get better and better at what they're doing, but jeez, just the atmosphere they build.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because better and better. Their most recent cinematics to date, other than this one, have been the Diablo ones, and I think this one just smites every single cinematic in Diablo 3.
Well, the scope of Diablo was pretty small.
Yeah, it's a good... For a game that pits you against legions from hell, yeah, pretty small scope.
I mean, it's not just that, though. I mean, and we've had Mists of Pandaria cinematics, too, like high-end ones that were also exceptional. And I think they were both, I think Miss and this are both a step above the Diablo ones. It feels like. I'm not sure why I say that. I have no technical reason for that. That's just my gut reaction to it. But this is an exceptional trailer, and it got me really, really like amped for this game.
Sure, but the Mists of Pandaria one wasn't our old classic montage of all the heroes and seeing those in high graphics. In the Diablo one recently, we were seeing new characters that we hadn't met before. This immediately out of the box gets a huge jump forward because it is iconic units that we've known forever. And in fact, there is no unit that's represented in this entire cutscene that wasn't part of Brood War, and the Vikings to an extent.
Banelings and Vikings.
Yeah,
sure.
And they unleashed like a what was it? Banshee?
Well, certainly now,
Valkyrie-like cloud of missiles.
Right. I mean, okay, so certainly nothing that's new that wasn't in Wings of Liberty. I mean, that's the really obvious part. And I believe the Viking, like those rockets, are actually an upgrade you can get in the single player campaign.
Okay.
So that's like they do like AoE air damage or something. But I did not think they could make a Viking look that cool. Like, I didn't recognize them for a minute because they're that much cooler looking than the in-game Vikings.
Well, especially from the like inside the cockpit view that you kind of open the cinematic up with.
Oh yeah.
It looks, I don't know, it looks like a standard.
For the record, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this or not, but there's a little like thing hanging in the cockpit, and some people have pointed out that it's more than likely that this is the first appearance of a gnome in any Blizzard cinematic.
It's a gnome air freshener.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Great.
Yep.
Well,
So-
I mean, just to talk on that outside of Easter eggs, just the character that they even put into the cockpits. So there was like tape, like one of the levers was all taped together, and like a picture was plastered to the counter there. So.
Oh yeah, they've gotten so good at injecting flavor. I mean, but you got to think too that this is literally a massive team that's been working on this for months. On this trailer, and it's taken them a very long time and a massive amount of work. And I think it's definitely paid off because it is stunning. And who lands a Viking in front of an Ultralisk? Really?
He lived, man.
No, he didn't.
He didn't get cut in half. He just gets thrown to the side.
So the swarm behind him can rip him apart, yes.
Right.
Oh, again, there's an eject button. He's fine.
All I want to know is...
What's he gonna do? Eject into a cloud of banelings? Like what?
No, shoot up and he'll get into one of those high-rise buildings and just hide.
But this has to be one of those situations where someone pulls rank, because there's no way you make a cutscene like this with units battling and the conversation doesn't go on forever. Because every single person in that creative development room has an opinion. Oh, let's land a Viking. That'd be real cool. There's no reason you land a Viking. Those Marines should be stimming. And this must have gone on forever until eventually someone says, forget it. So this is what's happening.
Well,
You're saying
I think
that
the scene that we're seeing here is this is not two evenly matched groups. This is the Terrans losing badly, right? This is that oh crap moment. I need more units on the ground. I guess I'll land my Vikings. What else are they doing?
And if we could play ladder games where the Terran is hanging out in only mech tech, and we can fly out of the air in our hive and immediately shoot Ultralisk down onto the ground, things might look a little bit like this.
Kyle, you mentioned there being a photograph inside the cockpit of that Viking. I think that's the same Viking that landed, and I think on that photograph you will see a picture of his wife and newborn child, and all he can think is, oh my god, I am all that stands between this Ultralisk and my child. I will do whatever it takes. And since Vikings can't shoot down, man, what are you going to do?
He needed to buy that crucial time because for some reason those siege tanks weren't sieged.
I know. Guess we're moving out.
I yelled at my screen during that. I'm like, why aren't they sieged?
Well, yeah, but I understand it too from a cinematic perspective. The sieging action is just so damn cool. You can't not do it.
Oh yeah, no. I'm very,
it is
very, very
such
glad
an
we got to see that.
iconic piece of the siege tank that if they're already sieged and you walk in there, it's totally boring.
Yep, it's no fun. So, anyways, go check it out. Also, the Daily Blink did an awesome comic analyzing it. Basically just making fun of all of the tactics, much like we just did basically saying, "Oh, attack an overlord loaded with units only once, though. Clearly, the Zerg will get the idea and retreat. No need to waste ammo." And so on and so forth. Great comic, really recommend it. Head on over to the dailyblink.com. So, there.
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah.
I probably watched it a dozen times.
Yeah, it's great. It's so great. And are you digging Kerrigan's new kind of glowy purple glyphs on her face?
I am curious to see. Here's the thing: we have not seen her conscious doing anything but waking up, right? Since basically the end of Wings of Liberty, from a lore perspective.
Yep.
We have no idea where her headspace is at. Like, I don't know what she's gonna do. Like, she could still very much be the Queen of Blades or something else, or, you know.
Well, yeah,
Sure,
we have no idea.
bent on vengeance, that's for sure.
And we can, tie some strings together and say we connect this cutscene and this cutscene. We've seen the one where like ghosts invade apparently, and Raynor shows up after they've trashed the place to be like, "Where are you, Kerrigan?" in the fire. And we assume she's already left at that point, but whether she's gonna like hang out and we have to do some Terran missions first to get us going, or then we take off for the Zerg on our own, who knows?
Yeah, with the way that the story is kind of panning out, I find it hard to believe that mission 1, all right, you've got some Zerglings, let's go. Because you're gonna spend some time in the Hyperion. I mean, we all are kind of assuming that.
Well, and we know that from the actual load screen and main screen of the Heart of the Swarm beta, she struggles a bit with using her mind powers to lift a few objects at the moment. So I doubt she's going to immediately run off to badassdom.
Yeah, Yoda, she is not. I don't know.
I'll be curious to see what it is, because like we keep seeing these snippets and little teasers and whatever, and so frequently you'll see like a movie trailer for a movie, and then you go, wait a minute, that whole scene that was in the trailer is not actually in the movie. Like, what happened to that? And they cut it out. There's nothing worse than when you see that. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have very little expectation story-wise, but I'm sure we get to control a lot of cool Zerg things.
I despise when they do that. Remember the live-action 101 Dalmatians? There's a scene in the commercials I remember as a child where they fell down an elevator shaft, and the guys were like, "Whoa!" And it never happened. There was never a chance for that to happen in the movie. And also in the cutscene,
you could not have picked a more obscure movie to reference.
Sure, let's bring it back in though. So if you watch the opening cutscene for the Wings of Liberty campaign, and they're doing the freedom and all that, and load you up in the Marine suit, they switch to a scene where like a dropship goes view and like turns sideways and like zooms through like a core hull kind of compound city. Never happens anywhere in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very excited about it. And I've actually been playing some HOTS recently, which has been fun. Speaking of which, Blizzard has put out a call to action to test the new leveling system, and basically to incentivize people doing that. They're gonna, if you reach the level 30 level cap for a given race, then you'll be given a custom portrait of either a Viper, a Warhound, or Tempest. And I'm surprised about the Warhound, to be honest.
Well, I'm sure it was already made.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure they have lots of other cool. I mean, they're not that complex. They're just like a painting of a guy, right?
Yeah, I know. Still, I mean, what else would they? It makes the most sense if you're going to dish out a Warhound portrait, because what are you going to do it for in the game proper? They're gone.
Right. Exactly.
Completely.
We might see them in single player campaign. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, so if you do this, you get the cool portrait, which you then can keep when the Heart of the Swarm actually releases.
Is this the first time we've been incentivized for this sort of action?
Absolutely.
Yeah. As opposed to being enticed with beta keys of some sort.
Yeah, or just the fact that you get to try it out.
I think this is a clever idea, because it's a massive amount of time investment. Like, that's the biggest problem that I think that Blizzard runs into frequently with betas, is that nothing, crosses over to the live version of the game. So why invest all that time and energy? There's no real benefit to you for it. The same happens with WoW. You know what I mean? Why farm all this tremendous gear when you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, they have no shortage of people trying to get in there and break the raid content, though, because you've got all these progressive...
Sure. But in that case, the incentive is the knowledge, that they gain from that.
Yeah, because this
It's still
person's
a
going for
significant
world first, so they're going to want to see it.
Right.
So,
But I don't think many people tried as hard as they could to grind out all the dailies ever, for instance.
no, I'm not trying that hard in the live game, and that does carry over.
Exactly. So I think this is a good logical leap. It's purely cosmetic. It's not, it doesn't affect the game in any real way, and I think it's a really clever system. And I think it's something that they're going to lead into more, like just having more sort of cosmetic perks that we'll see later on from everything, from playing the game rather than just a ladder rating.
Yeah.
New replay features coming in Heart of the Swarm beta, and they are now in.
Yep.
The much anticipated replay features now in Heart of the Swarm beta are such as being able to restart a replay or play a replay from any point that you choose. Also, a failed game where everyone got kicked from a disconnect or whatever can be restarted with the original players.
Yeah, or my personal favorite, watching replays together, which I'm really stoked about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you guys
as long
tried
as you're
any of
in
this?
Sorry, what was that?
Have you guys actually tried these?
No, not yet.
Okay. I was just curious how they worked.
No, I'm again, I think we've talked about this on the show before, but I'm a terrible beta player. I just want to play the game. I don't really test it, so I'm not super stoked about this until it's live, just because
Exactly.
So
I can go, all right, Nesty, here's what you did wrong. This is how I would win.
yeah. There's so many good jokes. It's just like I can pick up Flash's game and see if I can win. It's like, oh wait, I don't play a damn thing like Flash. Not even close.
And without his opponent, which is kind of the important part.
Yeah, exactly. In other news, skins for units and buildings are coming. Blizzard recently revealed that alternate skins in-game will be part of the reward system in Heart of the Swarm. Currently in the game, we see options for alternative skins on for the Terran, the Supply Depot, the Marine, the Thor. For the Zerg, it's for the Overlord, Zergling, and Ultralisk, and for the Protoss, it's the Pylon and the Zealot. This is just very early on, and I don't think there's any actual images of what the skins themselves look like. If you go and look at the data mine stuff, they're all just clear, but there are like little placeholders. Like there's animations you can unlock, and it looks like it's a bunch of dances at the moment. Like
Which is pretty sweet that they, are holding back something that doesn't matter as much as making your units dance and making that a reward. I have seen a compiled picture of all of the mutant Zerg units. And basically, when there's those big dogs that drool a lot, and they have those weird kind of like half starfishes at the bottom of their lips where the drool kind of whisks out.
Yeah.
Make
that red and attach it all over the Zerg. That's what mutants look like.
Lots of spikes, too.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
There's sort of a mutant Ultralisk that's been floating around that's quite fancy.
Yeah. We saw that a while back. That was dead of mind. But
I love this. I think this is genius.
Yeah, we were talking before. I think we all kind of unanimously agreed on this when they first announced the leveling system. We're like, portraits, I'd be a lot more incentivized if it was like skins or something like Dota. And bam, here it is. I mean, everyone's been saying this, and it's good to see Blizzard listening.
The biggest problem that you have, especially with multiplayer StarCraft, from a more casual perspective, is that it's not the biggest problem. It's one of the problems that I think they encounter is that there's no sort of real progression aside from a very abstract ladder rating, right? So and there's no customization to what you're doing. That you can't sort of like people like vague elements of role playing. So I think this goes a long way towards that, where people can sort of go, oh, I prefer the cool looking Marine, or I prefer the standard one, but I like the really awesome looking Zergling. And they can sort of mix and match. Right.
They picked a really safe way to do this too, because these are units from the campaign, so you're gonna see them in action long before you run into them in a ladder situation.
Exactly. And the thing about them, like all of the different, like the best example of this, of course, is all the different mercenary versions that we saw in Wings of Liberty, right?
Yes.
Which are so cool.
I love the mercenary Marines, dude. Those things look so sick.
Dude, those fat tanks. Yeah.
Yes.
And the battle cruiser, sir, that looks like, oh man, that thing is so bad. I hope it comes with the captain with the robot eye.
I actually like the standard battlecruiser better because I think the mercenary battlecruiser just looks like you took a Honda Civic and put 3 spoilers on the back.
Oh, come on. There is no other ship that says, I've got a Yamato gun like that mercenary.
Well, the mercenary is 2, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
huge.
double. It's the double Yamato barrel or something.
Whatever it is, it's fancy looking. But I love this because also it doesn't change the silhouettes so much that they're unrecognizable. You know what I mean? Like quick reads are still a very, very important aspect to this game. You need
Yeah.
to be able to pick out exactly how many zealots are in that group. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if they made pylons look like a water fountain, they would need to add an option to turn this off for competitive play.
Right.
And there may even be an option, we don't know yet because these aren't live. You can't unlock these yet. You can only see them as achievements when you're looking in the beta.
Yeah.
But we don't know if there's a button that's going to be in the menu that just says, don't show me anyone else's stuff or even my own. I would hope it would get rid of both, though, because it seems unfair to, look pretty all by yourself and
Well, I
deny
wouldn't
the
be
other
su-
guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did interfere, and I'd be genuinely surprised if they did, because I think there's going to be such tiny differences that you'll only really see like when you zoom in. Like the difference between the normal edition Thor and the collector's edition Thor is negligible at best. Like the one's got like a little wing on it or something, right?
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't.
it's
it doesn't
notice-
really.
it's noticeable, and they do look pretty badass. But
Right. But it's not to the point where you go. I just looked at that for a fraction of a second because it came in on the side of my minimap, and I just clicked on it and got it just in time. And you go, what is that?
oh, I think that Thor's a marauder.
Yeah, exactly, right. You're not
Hello.
making that mistake. And
Right.
if it ever boils down to it, I'm sure tournaments would just have rules where they say turn off those settings. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not that complicated.
Yeah, and often with the private server that they're now working with, they have completely new accounts on there anyway, so nothing would be unlocked.
Exactly,
Unless
so-
Blizzard decide to make it a show sort of match.
Yep,
Right.
they have a lot more control.
Now, the
Yep.
thing that I'm most looking forward to is how hard do I have to work to unlock the Ire Chef model?
Yeah.
Because all my zealots need a chef hat.
Nice, nice.
Additionally, we saw this week, we sort of saw this strange glitch of global play possibly going live, and it was, kind of, but not really, because on Friday,
mess.
apparently, global play seemingly went live to host the complaints over login issues, bugs with game clients, blah blah blah, and Blizzard basically said this is the work we're doing, but it's not the official launch of this. So obviously it's tied in, and it's nice to know that they're working on this stuff heavily.
Yeah,
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see it launched with Heart of the Swarm.
agreed.
Right, and then they'll just repatch that to Wings of Liberty to just make it consistent.
Yep, but honestly, if you're playing Wings, you're gonna get HOTS.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yep.
Next bit of news for StarCraft, but not for long, actually, because this is not coming in the box. It is Blizzard All-Stars, which I think we are all looking forward to here.
I can't wait for this.
So StarCraft 2 is in the box, it's set. Blizzard All-Stars will not be coming with that, but the developers have been talking a little bit this past week about how they are getting closer.
Yeah, indeed. The Chris Sigety, who I love because he looks like a guitarist for the band in Metalocalypse.
Yeah, he looks like Toki.
Yeah, indeed. He's had a couple of new details on the Blizzard All-Stars in an interview with Eurogamer, and he said that we're actively working on it and that he can confirm a lot of the stuff that's remaining right now that we need to focus on are the systems necessary to pull off a game with a different business model than StarCraft 2. This is because it has been confirmed that Blizzard All-Stars will be free to play and accessible via the StarCraft 2 Starter Edition.
Which is free, correct?
Yes. That's
So basically, this is a standalone game.
pretty
It
much,
just
but
happens to use the engine, right?
Right, but it's going to be, you have to access it through StarCraft. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just made it its own damn client.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should do it that way because it's now so far removed from StarCraft.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing. Maybe they want to, like, if they keep going with this whole, microtransaction things and getting people like the sort of marketplace aspect of it, of StarCraft that they were talking about much
Oh,
earlier.
yeah,
on.
like the map store.
Yeah, that kind of thing, right? Where people make these truly sort of standalone games in the context of, within the StarCraft environment. I can see them using this as a tool to push that, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense for them to push it through that avenue so that they can introduce other players to it and go, here's what's possible, right? As a proof of concept, and not just to open it up this stuff to a whole host of other players too, who may not have necessarily approached StarCraft because they don't like a StarCraft style game, but might get into it for other reasons.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, it's it's just good to hear any news at all about this at this point, because when it first was shown at the BlizzCon, what was it? I can't even remember now.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't even think it was the most recent. I think it was the one before that. They were just kind of touting it as like, oh, it's just a fun little mod for StarCraft. And then what I think happened is LoL became the monstrosity that it is, and they're like, oh crap, we should probably really try on this.
Well, and the coolest thing about it right now is that they have decided to make it a MOBA game while avoiding a lot of the tropes of that genre. So they're doing their own thing with it. There's not going to be last hit. There's not going to be single kills. When you kill a hero, you get all the gold across your team. It's going to be a lot more friendly. And they've said it over and over again, but we're taking the Dota game and making it into the Blizzard philosophy of easy to learn, difficult to master, which honestly, if you've played LOL or Dota, you know that is not easy to get into.
No, not at all. I've
even a little bit.
I've been playing a while, and I still have no damn idea what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm really stoked just because instead of running boots, we get mounts. Kind of stoked about that.
Yes, that is cool.
Way more exciting than boots.
It's interesting how this evolved from, hey, here's a custom map that we made that could be pretty cool, just as an example, to what else is possible, to, hey, we're making a full-fledged game out of this.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up StarCraft for this week. Let's talk a little Warcraft. Oh, there are changes a-coming to raid loot quality levels. On Wednesday, community manager Kryto, also known as the Pug that whoops my ass, posted a lengthy explanation of a new raid tier a new tier of raid loot quality coming to the Thunder King in raid in patch 5.2. I can't talk today. This is the Thunder Forged gear. So we're getting a whole new tier of stuff, and new and still a little confusing, but here's the summary. He said currently each item of raid loot has 3 potential levels: LFR, normal, and heroic. Normal drops from both 10 and 25 mans. In the new raid, we will have LFR, which will be an eye level of 502, normal, an eye level of 522, normal Thunder Forged 528, and then there's heroic 535, and heroic Thunder Forged 541. Thunderforged items will have a chance of dropping instead of the respectively normal or heroic items, and then in 25 mans, the chance to drop Thunderforged items will be higher than in 10 mans. So, to sum it up, Kryto said that they'll be somewhat rare in both cases compared to the standard versions that'll drop, but they'll be even rarer in 10s. Overall, a 25-player group will be more likely to end up with a slightly higher item level after several weeks of raiding.
Yes. Cool. I love this.
Okay. I think it seems a little needlessly complicated.
Why?
Because they used to just have 10-man, 25-man gear. They took away the 25-man gear for whatever reason. I don't even remember anymore. I remember thinking the reason was stupid. And then now we're adding even more. So it seemed like before they were trying to simplify, but now they're just making it more convoluted. And then it's not even guaranteed for doing 25
not complicated.
men.
It's very straightforward, right? So basically, as you go through, right, let's say we're doing 10-man, right? Let's say we're doing 10-man Mogashon vaults. We go through and we clear and we do it every week, and the same stuff keeps dropping, right?
Yes.
Now, it is not so incredibly aggravating to have the same thing drop yet again, because there's a decent chance that it may be substantially better than it was, and it's a low percentage chance, which makes drops of that quality, not nearly as painful. So like this makes it far more interesting and more likely that people will continue to do the content instead of, like, let's say, just saving the lockout and just doing the last boss over and over again, right?
Right.
So this adds an element of randomness to it, and it gives you a chance at an item that is sort of a tier above what you normally have access to, which is kind of cool in and of itself. It's a very low percentage drop chance. Not everybody in your raid is getting them, but it's cool that this happens occasionally, and it will help, balance things out.
Seems like something to motivate players who are already geared to help other players through content.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent reason, right? I mean, the idea of geared suddenly becomes a lot more long term, in the sense of, I can get all my normal gear stuff, I can even get all my heroic stuff, but do you have all your heroic Thunderforge stuff? I mean, that's an entirely separate problem, and chances are I don't think you'll see a lot of people with all Thunderforge stuff. The drop rates are very low, but I think it adds a cool element of randomness, and then when you do get a Thunderforge piece that drops in your raid, it'll be really exciting, right? As opposed to just, oh yeah, of course that drops, we know because it's on the loot table, right?
Fair enough. Okay. All right. You sold it to
Oathmaster
me.
in the chat poses an interesting question, though. Why not implement this with a elite or hard mode type boss situation?
They have.
Not this particularly, though.
Yes, well, there's a heroic Thunderforge version, so this
Right,
system,
that's what heroic is for. I mean, if you want
This is-
harder, you go do heroic.
Yeah, the system still functions for heroic.
Right.
The system's
it's-
being implemented for basically all current
Everything
forms
but
of
LFR.
raiding except LFR. Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I think it's not necessarily something that needs to be earned, if that makes sense.
Right. This isn't something you're not going to go hunting for this. You're like, oh man, I need to keep grinding until I get all my last piece of Thunderforge. Like you said, this is going to be added just a level of random.
Sort of,
Just-
this is the equivalent of getting like a cool rare drop, right?
Right.
If you're out in the world doing quests or whatever and you get something really neat that you wouldn't normally get. This is the equivalent of that. I don't think it'll dramatically change gameplay, but for the people that do get them, for the raids that occasionally get one, it'll be exciting. And it won't be a ton more than that, but it will be, kind of cool.
Yep. Oh, very, very cool. Thank you for selling that to me, by the way, Ben. Originally, I was just looking at this like, why did they ever take away 25-man level loot? Ah!
Well, yeah, but here 25-man level is still the same as 10-man level.
That-
Right? They don't want a massive incentive to only do 25-man.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, and here in this case, actually, what's very interesting that we actually completely skipped over is that they're incentivizing 25-mans because they are more difficult. It seems like by increasing the number of Thunderforged item drops that you can get in 25-man as opposed to 10-man. Not a massive difference, but it will be enough to make it slightly more interesting, rather than, hey, we're doing this more difficult thing without any real reward for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's not as huge as a whole, like, different item level. It's not this massive difference.
Right.
Additionally, we have a hotfix of sigil drops for those of you who are still trying to get the legendary gem.
That would be me. I'm very
Yeah, me
excited
too.
about this.
Yeah. So sigils of power now only drop in Mogushan vaults, and sigils of wisdom will only drop in Heart of Fear and Terrace of Endless Springs, with a very small chance to drop in LFR and Mogushan vaults. This would ensure that players who had access to Mogushan vaults for a longer period of time are now seeing more sigils of wisdom.
Praise God.
Okay, explain to me what is different about how this was, because I'm confused.
I believe you could get wisdom in all of the raids. So,
Oh, you could only get strength in Mogushan vaults.
or sorry, there's power and wisdom. Wisdom are
Right.
the second ones you're supposed to need. I think you could get power in all of them, but only wisdom in Heart of Fear and Terrace. So, but there was just a random chance. So a lot of people are just getting way more power than they needed.
Oh.
I think that's what happened. Feel free to write and
Okay.
correct me, but I'm almost positive that's what was going on. So there was that. So power were available in Terrace as well as wisdom. Okay, so yes, yeah, the chat room's confirming.
Okay.
Because you basically had overlap.
Okay, I see.
which was causing
I must have
massive
just gotten very
frustration.
lucky because I've never gotten power ones from any of the Terrace or Heart of Fear.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I ask. I've just never encountered it. That makes perfect sense, though, and I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
The Lightning Forge, which is a cool looking place, if I must say so, has new transmog weapons, and I could not be more happy because these are lost, quote unquote, Burning Crusade models.
I'm so stoked about this too. This makes me really happy. This has been data mined from Wowhead. It shows a bunch of, they're basically vanity weapons, I guess. So the weapon models are all the blacksmithing specialization weapons from BC. So we've got the Wicked Edge of the Plains, Blaze Fury, Dragon Strike, Deep Thunder, as well as all of their unupgraded versions. So
This is colorful.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Man, oh, this takes me back. God,
Yeah.
you couldn't go into PvP without seeing Storm Herald 100 times.
Yep. There are some still, in my opinion, like there's some designs here that I loved. I had Storm Herald too. I love Lionheart. I think that's such a classic looking, like Warcraft sword.
Really? I really don't like that sword.
I'm not saying it's well designed. I'm just saying like it was so prevalent. Like I don't know. I'm used to seeing like Alliance dudes running around with them. But
I can see a lot of orcs running around with a couple of black planar edges.
I was about to say the Black Planar Edge I think is my favorite design overall in here.
Yeah, that. And
Yeah.
Blaze Fury is pretty cool, too.
Oh, and Dragon Maw basically was the staple weapon for every elemental shaman, or not elemental, the one where they hit things. They're beasts.
Enhancement?
Enhancement shamans.
Start through the knee. You were close.
It's actually a
yeah.
similar weapon that dropped in Firelands, actually. It was purple, though.
Yeah.
There's also a mace, also had a dragon head on it. I want to see a mage with Blaze Fury.
All right.
I think that'd be cool.
Cool. And then closing out the week, we've got a Just for Fun. I love these. The achievement for killing Undasta is called Millions of Years of Evolution versus My Fist. And then just for more fun, we have Ghostcrawler mega teasing on Twitter. On Tuesday, someone asked him, Wrath of the Lich King gave us the random dungeon finder. Kata gave us LFR. Which new Mists of Pandaria feature do you think has had / will have a huge impact? To which Ghostcrawler replied, we haven't announced it yet. You... Oh, I'm just going to say, you bastard. So they're holding back something they
I mean,
consider...
if we're going with the progression of this thing, it's going to be a find anything button, which will
Find
throw you
loot.
in a PvP
So it's like
scenario.
it's like the shuffle button on my iPod.
Exactly.
It'll just assign you random gear.
Oh, that would be fun too. I hope it sends me to just random level 20 dungeons too. Like here, carry these poor blokes through Ragefire Chasm. Enjoy.
Well, here's a genuine question. What big feature do you think would do well in WoW?
Our writer Tash asks that I say in a Dalek voice after reading this little story. Speculate.
Speculate.
So that's what we're gonna do. Oh man, I don't know. I truly don't know. It's one of those, and I guarantee you, when they announce it, we're gonna sit here on our snarky tower, going, "Why wasn't this in the game from the beginning?" But we can't think of it now.
Right.
I don't know. Kyle, anything?
It's tough. I mean, what more is there? Besides what I just said, find anything button.
Which would just be dumb.
Please hurry up and get me in something. I'm a DPS, for God's sake.
Put me in something that gives me valor. I'm a DPS. Thank you.
Put me in, coach.
Yep.
I mean, I would love to see some more role-playing tools, but that
wouldn't
doesn't
be
really follow
surpri-
this situation.
I could see like large scale system changes, going hand in hand with the sort of cross realm zones kind of thing, like sort of something big and sweeping. Not like here's a new piece of content, but rather here's a major system we've designed that somehow enhances your gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what? Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. And let's make it World PvP. World PvP cross realm zones.
I would love that.
That'd be cool.
I want a return to Wintergrasp. I want something Wintergrasp-esque in scale. I just want Wintergrasp, man, because Tolbarat sucked.
Yeah. That's kind of a letdown. Well, it was like a zone to dailies, and it wasn't much else.
Yeah, well, the PvP part of it just seems so neutered in comparison to what came before it.
So small.
Yeah, and all you were doing was just running around killing people. The whole just scale and concept of Wintergrasp. Let's storm a castle was awesome. It was one of the coolest things in the game.
Yeah.
And then for hey, here's Tolbarad, it's just like the most boring version of a battleground ever. Enjoy. So I don't know, but yeah, I really don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, I remember I never really saw LFR coming, but damn, when it came in, it felt like it should have been there from the get-go, and it was a wonderful change.
Right.
So I'm all for it. Bring it on, Mr. Ghostcrawler. Just stop teasing us, you jerk.
Watch, this is going to be a total letdown. It's going to be like nothing.
It's going to be like, the dance studio is here! And it was like, we would have been excited for that a while back. Thank you. Go back into your crap shell. So,
If we talked about this a few months ago, I would have said that this feature might even be the Brawlers Guild, which has been a little lackluster.
Have you done it?
No, of course not.
No, but that doesn't. I mean, I kind of agree with Kyle. I mean, I haven't done it personally, but I've been down there and hung out, and there's not a big buzz about the guild like I thought there would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is really cool from flavor, from a flavor standpoint. I must say, like going in there and everyone's kind of talking and watching. It is interesting. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was just expecting maybe a little more hype around it. But we'll see.
Yep.
So, anyways, that does it for World of Warcraft. Let's talk a little Diablo. Maybe, if it plays. There it is. Oh, upcoming Ask the Devs Q&A session is happening tomorrow. Diablo 3 developers will be taking questions from a designated thread on the Blizzard forums focusing on the subject of the upcoming patch 1.0.7. This is the one that is bringing dueling into the game and a swell of other fixes, features, and hotfixes as well. The session starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time, again, tomorrow, January 29th. So if you have burning questions for the Diablo devs, now is your chance. Go do so now. If you're listening to the podcast version, it's going on right now. Go! Shh! Run!
Where half the questions will be, hey, is Jay Wilson working on Titan?
Do we hurt his feelings too bad?
In other Diablo news, dueling damage reduction. Saw this coming a mile away.
Sure.
Yeah, as of last week when we were talking about the preview that we all looked at, where it was just like, if you're taking damage, you're dead.
If you duel, you kind of instantly explode. So,
hope you have
they're
zero
latency. They're looking into reducing damage while dueling. Makes a lot of sense. You can't have the same impact on other players that you do on 10,000 tiny monsters. It just doesn't work.
Or one giant one that has like 100 times the hit points that you do.
Right, exactly. It just doesn't make any sense to keep the damage scaling like remotely the same.
Yep.
Yeah, really the only class that could have a decent battle in the current dueling system is a bunch of wizards who can have sort of a centipede-like battle where some skill's involved anyway.
Lots of Blizzard everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't come near me. Don't touch me.
You're in my box. Get out of my bubble.
And legendary items will now be able to take the vanishing die, so you can be epic and naked.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to be naked, epically naked.
I guess this is cool. I didn't realize you couldn't do that before.
Yeah, apparently legendary items just like we're not compatible with it.
And it makes sense. It's legendary. You want to show it off, and this is one of those changes that naturally happens later in a game's life.
And Blizzard has this seems to have this oversight throughout a lot of their games of just overlooking the incredibly rare stuff and how it functions with the rest of the game. Like legendary weapons in WoW. No, you can't transmog those. We know they're the coolest damn thing in the entire game.
That seems intentional.
Makes no sense to me.
No, I think I have to agree with Ben. It is intentional. When they sit down and do this, they're like, no, we're putting this much work. This item is legendary. It does not get that ability.
So it's so legendary you can only use it until the next expansion.
Well, yes.
I disagree with you both. You're both very wrong.
Well, I mean, there's no argument that it wasn't intentional because they basically announced that you wouldn't be able to use legendaries before they released the feature. So I don't think there's been a bunch of changes since. You know, if they wanted to, they could have fixed this. This is clearly a deliberate choice on their part. Whether or not you agree with it, it's an entirely different question.
No, it's not an opinion, man. They're just wrong.
Okay.
That is a stupid decision. So there's that. So, and when I said a little Diablo news, I meant it. That was it, which means we are at the end of the show. Bah! So, anyways, go leave us an iTunes review if you have not already. We really appreciate it. You can do that over in the iTunes store. Just search for This Week in Blizz. This is a production of amove.tv. Head on over to the site. We've got a lot of news, links to all the VODs and whatnot over there. You can see more about This Week in Blizz at thisweekinblizz.com, and you can email the show at thisweekinblizz@gmail.com. We record live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/amovetv. Go follow us there. It helps the show out a lot. And you can follow us on Twitter at This Week in Blizz. You can follow me at Garrett Art. You can follow Kyle at Kyle Ferguson. You can follow Mr. Ben Zweifel at Pixel Garbage. Join us in WoW at versustheworldguild.com. That's vstheworldguild.com. That's our guild. It's Alliance. It's on Lightbringer US. And we're having a good time, so if you want to come hang out with us, that is the place to do it. And make sure you check out StarCast, the StarCraft podcast with Kyle and I for many, many, many more talks revolving around our favorite real-time strategy game. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me at Biggest Fan Podcast, where we followed the fad that's driving me mad, and I remembered what we did last week. We did smartphones, and that was a lot of fun, talking about from all the way back to the old, not a gramophone, what was that? The Edison device. No, Bell, Graham Bell. It was only one day.
But weren't you talking smartphones?
Yes, but naturally I started at the beginning.
Okay.
Very good place to start. And this week we are doing Justin Timberlake. So I'm bringing sexy back this Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a logical leap.
It is.
From Bell to Timberlake.
Are you like me, Kyle? I guess give everyone a little preview. Have you kind of come around on the Timberlake? Like, NSYNC days, you're like, I hate this man more than life itself. And then he started doing SNL and skits here and there, and you're like, oh, all right, this guy's he's not terrible.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, he's worth his weight in gold for just pulling himself out of a boy band era.
Yeah, that's...
Name someone else from Backstreet Boys or NSYNC that managed to do that.
Didn't the gay one go to space or something?
What?
Lance,
which gay one doesn't?
I don't know. This would be a question for my girlfriend, who was a Backstreet Boys fan. I am not at liberty to be speaking about this. So, are you guys going to talk about like the harsh rivalry between Backstreet Boys and NSYNC fans?
Well, of course.
Okay, cool. Because I always found that hilarious because I could never tell the difference between the two when I was growing up. So, but girls are like, no, Backstreet Boys is better. NSYNC's better. Rawr. It's funny. So.
I believe NSYNC was later, or at least I was subjected to them longer from my mother and sister.
I believe they were later. Yeah. Real quick, fun story. I lost a bet one time and had to wear a Backstreet Boys tour T-shirt the entire day to high school.
How did that go?
I don't know how the bet. I don't know what the bet was over, but it went fine because, everyone just assumed it was a joke.
Mm.
So there is that. Please check out our sponsors, doghousesystems.com and tweakedaudio.com. Our code for both is TWIB, TWIB. We talked about that at the top of the show. That gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig and 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of noise-canceling earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. Do not forget to go enter Doghouse Systems Kerrigan Rifle Giveaway Contest. Again, the code is Kerrigan. Use that in conjunction with TWIB to get double memory and a chance to win a life-size replica of Kerrigan's Ghost Rifle from the Betrayal cinematic, courtesy of Bill Duran and Punished Props. So there is that. We will see you guys.
Guaranteed to one shot a Hydralisk.
Maybe. It is not a... Here's the fine print. It is not a functioning weapon.
You don't know that. You haven't run into a Hydralisk before. That thing could awaken. I believe in Punished Props.
He said in his video it would not fire bullets. So, I believe what he says.
Well, they're probably not bullets per se. I think they're more like flechettes.
This show is over as of now. We'll see you guys next week for episode 42. Goodbye.